Yeah,
Don't.
Jordan's in the house.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So, did I ever? God, I don't think we ever played.
Oh yeah, you lost to me before, just like everybody else in the family.
How long ago has that been? Wait a minute. Was that down here? Or was that down in California? No.
At Jared's house.
At Jared's house.
At Jared's house.
I ain't never played no football over at Jared's.
Yes, you did. You fell victim, just like everybody else did that day. The same day that we got the
Jared's?
family photo with all four of us is the same
Oh,
day
oh, oh,
all
oh.
y'all got spanked. Don't even
Oh,
try
okay,
that.
okay, okay. Now I'm understanding. Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. You picked on me when I was sick. That's okay. I remember that. I remember that. But at least you wasn't like Jonathan. I don't think you met him. That was the other step grandson over here, and he was just a smart ass and everything else. So I remember the first time he asked me to go ahead and play, and he beat me out like about 105 to zip. And he was doing everything. He was onside kicking, and of course,
Brick
who did
legs,
he pick?
running
I'm up
flea
here picking
flickers.
Navy. I'm picking Navy, and then he winds up picking USC that has a
Oh,
rating of
that's
like
not even
99.
fair. That's not even
He has a
fair.
99 rating. At that time, Navy had a rating like 68. You
I was
know,
gonna say
Uh,
Navy's rate normally stays about 65 to 67.
yeah,
Shoot,
65 to 67. Yeah,
uh, I'm the only reason why on the video game this last season that they had a good enough rating that they had,
yeah,
because I was leading the defense and we basically shut down everybody we played on
yeah.
the video game. I freaking led us. I
So they
freaking
still
took
have it.
Navy to a title
So they still
on
have
the
it
video
where you
game.
play the live against other people.
Yeah.
That's still all hooked up. Yeah, see, I never kind of dumped in it. Anyway, when he beat me and everything else, I said, okay, that's okay. I said, I'm gonna get you. So what I did, and I never played it before. So he didn't tell me anything about the buttons, about the A for pass or the B
Hmm.
for spin. He didn't tell me any of that crap. I said, that's okay. That's okay. So after get my ass beat that Thanksgiving, I said, that's okay. I said, I'm gonna wait. Matter of fact, I think maybe it's around January, something like after Christmas or something like that. I forget. But anyway, so when school and every stuff started, I went down to GameStop and I went and bought me a machine. And then I put it in my bedroom. And they didn't know I had it.
Hmm.
Okay. Then I go on the internet and start searching for books about how to play NFL, how to play Madden for the football. And they talk me about these fantasy, what about what is it, the fantasy season?
About the freaking fantasy football and everything
Franchise
else.
with franchise, I think it
Oh,
was.
franchise, yeah,
Yeah, so you start the franchise and you go through all the drills where it teaches you how to pass and how to run and everything
yeah.
else. And then you have your season, and then you start doing your season, and then you kept on winning the season and going over again and winning the season. And then you're right. Then you're getting players that you go ahead to take the players and put them up in the NFL so you can design your own. So I started doing all that. So I was practicing for a damn year in my bedroom and nobody knew. Okay. And I waited to Thanksgiving. Yeah. And I was waiting. And I didn't go in and say, oh, y'all, come on. I'm ready for it. Oh, no, no. I kept my mouth shut. I
Hmm.
kept my mouth shut. And then I waited, and then they said, "I want you to go ahead and play." I said, "No, I don't feel like doing it. No, I'm sorry. No. Oh, come on, come on." I said, "No, oh no." So you guys ain't gonna treat me right. Okay, I did that, and then so all of them were here. Was Jared was here, and
Hmm.
Jared was here, and John was here, and their friends and stuff. And so Jonathan, who beat me 105 to zip, he comes out. And he goes in and he said, I'm gonna. Kick his ass again. So he comes in. He comes in, and hour later he goes back out, and they said, "Well, how bad did you kick his ass?" And he said, "I didn't. I lost." And people said, "What? What? What? Yeah." I said, he said, "Well, what team did he choose? Who did he have? Ohio State or Michigan?" He said, "No, he had Navy, man." I said, "Hey, he was throwing shit up there I ain't never seen before." And then John I gotta get in there to do this stuff, right? John come up in there. Yeah, see, I played it right. I didn't do onside kick. When I was head,
Hmm.
all I did was run the ball, to run the clock and everything, like just like you do in a regular.
Yeah,
Regular game, you know. If you're behind, then you do the onside kick. If you're ahead, you don't do the onside, you know. I'm just doing
exactly.
the legit rules and stuff like that. Yeah, I beat them all that day. And then they realized, they said, how in the heck is this happening? I said, why don't y'all come and check out my room? Oh, oh, I said, okay, you may get me once, okay, but it ain't nothing I can't do when I start focusing and setting my mind to and practicing it, you know,
Right.
do it. So it was like, oh my God. So then what game are they playing, my grandsons? What are they into?
I don't know what they over there playing right now. One of them was playing Roblox, and the other one was playing something else.
Oh, okay. So what okay, so now what are they playing on now then? Are you
Uh,
I
they
don't think they
got
have yeah, you gotta update me.
both
So matter of
both
fact,
of them have both of them. So Mio just has the regular Switch. Then Marquitas has the Switch OLED, which was the new which was the
are we talking
newest
about
one until
Nintendo?
they put the two out. Yeah, and then
Nintendo's
they're sharing my old PlayStation,
okay,
my old PS5.
so you have the PS5,
Yeah.
they have the PlayStation, but they also have the Switch. Are those the switches that I got? Or you've already upgraded those?
No, I've already upgraded those.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I upgraded uh my youngest one to the regular Switch, like I said, and then Marquitas has the OLED Switch.
Oh yeah, that's been about like 6 years ago now. I'm thinking about
Yeah,
it. Yeah. The times have definitely
because they
changed.
had to switch lights forever.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, they
So
did. I remember that and stuff like that. So, um, okay, so were you able to get
I was not.
access?
I
Huh?
didn't access or do anything with that this past week.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. So you haven't tried it yet. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
haven't
So you
tried it yet, and that was mainly because of we had to bury Felix. We had to put Felix to rest finally.
Felix. All right. Who's
know,
Felix? Is
uh,
this a dog?
Felix was one of our dogs.
Okay.
That was the one that we've had. He was 17.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we had him since little Jordan and Justice were, what I'm saying, kids.
Right.
So, you know,
Oh, okay. So I know we had little Tommy. I think when you guys came down before going to
mhm.
Oregon, we had little Tommy and Tommy.
And we had Felix with us.
Yeah,
That was the
that's
little
right.
white dog.
Okay, now I remember. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and
Yeah,
Tommy died. Oh, I guess it's 3 years ago now on
yeah,
Thanksgiving. It was right after, matter of fact, it was right after I had moved in with Carol and and again, but Tommy was like 16 years old, you
yeah.
know.
Same thing with
Yeah,
Felix. Like I said, 17 years old. We had him
yeah,
forever.
yeah,
And yeah, but
yeah.
I
Because
mean,
he started just mopping around and everything else. He went to the doctor, and the doctor said he had some pancreas or something, and she says, "Well, you know, $3,000 to put him sleep." I said, "Put him sleep." I'm so, I love my
yeah,
dog, but well, the thing
yeah,
is, there's some things you can do uh, and they can recover from. It's just like when we
right.
got Ivy, when we got the dog Ivy, we actually, when we got the dog, we picked up the brother and the sister, both of them
Hmm.
together. And 3 days after we had got them, uh, the Freckles, the little one, he was hopping on the bed, and I looked at his arm. He was carrying his arm uh, wrong,
Hmm.
And I'm saying, what the heck? So looked at it, and we picked it up and everything. You know how dogs are when they break stuff that they don't get up there and whine and stuff. They're in a lot of pain and they just deal with it, without. But anyway,
Yeah,
he really, really broken it. And so I took it to the doctor. I'm saying, oh my God, 3 days after I got him, then I wound up taking him to the doctor. And then go take him. They wind up putting him in a brace. But they said, we don't know how this is going to go because he really
hmm,
smashed it. So we put him in the brace and everything else and did that. Brought him home. And then, so he's going in with his cast, going in and out the doggy door. Everything looked like it's all okay. We had been a habit putting him in the cage because when we first got him and we put him
hmm.
in the cage, woke up 4 days later in the cage. and he had the bandage and stuff off, and
Oh,
he had broken it again. It had broken again.
oh, good grief.
Yeah, and then so I took him back to the doctor again. See, the first time was $1,500, then I go take him back again on that, and the doc look at it and he says, "Well, he says, I don't know what we can do with that now because it's broken worse than what it was before." He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "You know what? We're," I said, "I'm in my 70s, my wife's in the 80s." And I said, "You know what? Uh, we can't be dealing with this, with taking care of this dog, with that,
Hmm.
for," and it was going to take another eight weeks or so. I said, after he broke it the second time, I said, "Something's wrong." So I said,
Right,
"No," I said, "We had to put him down." Because it just broke too easy, and
right.
so he had an issue, so we had to put him down. And so,
Yeah.
but the other one we got now, she's a character, so she's definitely replacing. Glad, matter of fact, we don't have two, but we only have one, and he's Carolyn's dog. That's her little dog. That's her little baby. That dog will let lay around her and let her play with her toys, and she goes in and out the doggy door and everything else. When I start walking down the hall to come anywhere near the dog's barking. That's why I put up on
Hmm.
on Instagram. I don't know if you saw that, but I thought the dog is
Yeah.
always barking at me. So, yeah, that's our animals. I said, but she's the last one because the only thing is they're like kids because if you really get
Mhm.
attached to them, then we couldn't go anywhere. So for a while, because we had her, she didn't want to, Carolyn didn't want to go anywhere, leave the dog by herself. So now we're at the next
Right.
stage. Now we're at the
You
stage
gotta start
that
taking the dog everywhere.
no, no, we don't. We don't take it to the dog. We left the dog by herself because I got
Hmm.
cameras everywhere in the house
Okay.
so that we can watch it. And I said, we've got to have our life where we can go out to have dinner for two
Right.
hours. So like tonight, we have our date night. So we have tribute bands that's at the
Okay.
downtown theater. And like we went to, what did we listen to? Like I've listened to, you had Bruno Mars, the tribute band. Tonight we're going to listen to Willie Nelson. Last week was
Okay.
the Beatles. 2 weeks ago was the Beatles. We've had was it CCR? Who was that? Crystal Clearwater. What?
Crystal Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, seen them. Seen Journey, Bee Gees,
Okay.
Marvin Gaye, uh, Tina Turner. So they're all tribute bands and everything else. And so we went and we'll go do that for like 2 hours tonight. That's our date night and stuff. And now she's good. She now when Carolyn goes somewhere, oh, then the dog goes off again. The dog's whining, acting like she's dying
Yeah.
and everything. So now we get to the point the dog has to have her channel 33 for her cartoons, and she has to have a blanket and her cartoons so that Carolyn can go get her hair done, man. So,
That's funny. The dog has to watch cartoons. That's freaking hilarious.
oh, yeah, the dog has to watch her own cartoons, dog cartoons.
Well, I mean, I got a cat that likes to watch freaking action movies and martial arts films. So,
Boy,
I mean, I get it. I get it. Like she will literally sit on the couch if there's a action movie or martial arts film playing, and she will sit there on the arm of the couch and watch it.
right.
And it is the funniest thing ever. And then she gets the zoomies right afterwards.
Hmm.
Has to run all over the house.
Yeah.
I guess in her mind, she's reenacting the movie.
Yeah. So I'm up here getting ready. So this is in August. So September, I start back with things. I got my Amazon shirt on that I got chosen by Amazon as a future engineer, teacher ambassador. And so I do research out in the community and stuff and provide reports back to Amazon so they can make adjustments for their growth and programming. Um, so that's going to be interesting because that's why they sent me to Cleveland. I went to Cleveland this summer. Amazon paid for me to go to Cleveland to go to the Computer Science Teachers Association and actually take a look at. I'm also doing model schools, so I go out and inspect continuation schools that have put in applications to be model schools and recognized by the state. So I do that,
Okay.
and I also do accreditation inspections. So I go and inspect regular high schools and write a report and make a recommendation as to whether or not they are accredited. And that makes a big difference. If you don't have an accreditation, your high school diploma ain't worth crap.
Right.
So I go do that about three. So I go about like six inspection visits a year I do on my little side hustle. That kind of keeps me attached to my to education and stuff. And then I do two conference presentations. I go to two conferences and present. So I do that a little bit. So, but the best thing for this week has been um, that I'm off of my cholesterol medicine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So I have been removed. And part of it was, when I mentioned about the PTSD and about sleeping, and I was taking different, trying different things. And
Hmm.
I was still still had a couple of bad episodes that came up since we were doing things last week, and I'm saying, I tried different sleep medicines, and I finally got the one that I have for Melaleuca, the one that's Resties, which works the best. So I
Hmm.
can't to help sleep. That was that. But then I was still having some, and I was trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And so when I started researching on the internet about sleep issues and stuff and side effects of
Hmm.
medications, it turned out that the statin, a couple of things. One, I saw a whole bunch of videos that was coming up about not taking statins. That there was something, and statin is the one that doctors give you for your high cholesterol. And but
Right.
you know, I don't believe everything that's on Facebook and everything else because I'm also going to be doing my research because as a doctor, I know how to do my research and I'm looking specifically for peer-reviewed articles that has documented research. That's what I look at. Okay, so I just don't look at it. I mean, I'll listen
Right.
to that, but I'm going to do my research. So in doing that research, there was a couple of things. My biggest fear. So part of living longer is one thing, but the worst part is living, being old age and living, and then going through the dementia, which is your
Hmm.
symptoms for your Alzheimer's. Now that would be the
Right.
last kiss of death for me, for me not to be able to have my mind being able to do things. I don't care about everything else. You could give me ED if you want. I mean, for erectile dysfunction and let that go for a while because I've already had it. Okay. But my mind, oh, hell no. So, uh, I knew that if you don't sleep right,
Yep.
your body has to sleep. You have to sleep. And if you're not getting the right sleep, it's going to cause other problems in your body. So I was looking
Yep.
at that, and that was happening because if I'm waking up after 2, 3 hours, up and fighting and whatever and all that junk, one, it's not safe to be in bed sleeping with me. Two,
Facts.
I'm not sleeping. So it was like that. So, but anyway, so I started research, and then I started when they were talking about the statins, I was seeing that I started doing the research, and I started looking and said, "Oh, wait a minute, there was side effects concerning the statin." Now, I had been having the cholesterol pill, but I had been taking it in the morning until I moved in when me and Carolyn got together, because she was taking hers at night.
Hmm.
That that I started taking mine at night. And then when I started looking at this, I started going back. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Before we got together, like Joyce had never said anything about me having nightmares or
Hmm.
there was sometimes occasional talking in your sleep, that, but you're talking about far and wide, in between, not something on recurring basis. And I started saying, God, this is happening, you know? And then so I started when I saw the thing about statin and about side effects for sleeping and nightmares, I said, "Oh crap."
Good. Hmm.
So then what I did was I said, "Okay." I said, "All this time I've been changing the sleeping medication, and at the same time I was still taking that statin at night before I go to bed." And I said, "Oh crap." So what I did was I changed it not to go at night, but to start taking it in the morning. And all of a sudden, I started sleeping better. There's been no outbreaks since that time point. And I'm saying, oh crap. So guess what? So I said, oh, okay. So now I'm saying, you know what? I want to get off of this stuff because then the more I started doing other research, I was
Hmm.
finding other things. So, because here's the whole thing, what it turns out. You know, remember in my charts that I've already shown in the other episodes, talking about why was my stuff all abnormal and the doctors didn't do anything,
Right.
you know? And it turns out I had a conversation with my doctor on this one, which I call him my good doctor because he kind of listens to me when I tell him about doing things, was that he says it's simple. He says most people won't follow through and do the things that you need to do. So it's easier in this case, they give the prescription med because it's like the one pill, and all they got to do is take that one pill for things to get ordered. Yeah, I'll decide it. You may have side effects and stuff up in there,
Hmm.
but the vast majority of people won't. So like in my regiment, everything I'm doing, okay, as far as my exercise routine, as far as my weights, as far as our diet and eating and everything else, that was a shift. Instead of just eating anything that you wanted, uh, most people don't, and that's why. So, but he's seen the documentation of everything, how all my numbers and stuff had changed, for the better and stuff. So he knew I was on there, and I told him about this, and I said, "Hey, I got to get off of this." You know, my numbers are okay. I said, but then I sent him the thing. So then what he did, he set up the other blood test for me to go back in to do that this week. Um, and when I did that, then from June to now, my cholesterol had already dropped another 6 points. So it went down to 122. So that was it.
Okay.
So that was it because my cholesterol numbers kept going down. So I'm off the cholesterol medicine. So the only one I get now is my high blood pressure medicine that I've had. And that started when I was teaching, when I was in teaching.
Hmm.
And then the stress with dealing with Joyce when she's going through with the cancer, and I was being with the caregiver and all of that stuff was going on. Then the prostate cancer hit. So all those
Right.
things, and then being a president of a HOA, I definitely lost my
Hmm.
damn mind there. Okay, having to deal with crazy people all the time, want to complain, you know. And one guy was a veteran, and so for getting ready for the 4th of July, people that went out and put these little, the
Yeah.
little flags with the stick,
Yeah.
And so, well, the flag on these damn flags that are in the ground, he's up there walking around, and he sees that some of the flags are touching the grass.
Oh,
So it's
good
touching the
grief.
ground. So he comes to me, he said, "You need to tell those people to go ahead and don't disgrace our flag because that flag is touching the grass, it's touching the ground." I looked at him and said, "Oh, so you want me what? You you want me to go around and adjust all the flags or go tell people that flags are touching the damn ground? This is the damn toy flag, you know? It's a
I
toy
know
flag."
exactly the flags that you're talking about too, because see here, that's one of the perks of being in a small town is we have the bicycle jamboree and we have this big event for the town for the 4th of July that, starts at the school and everything else, and they ride and the kids ride the bicycles through the neighborhood to the park and everything else. And so they give out the little flags to all the houses in the neighborhood and we put them, what I'm
Right.
saying, in the front yards. So I know exactly the ones you're talking about. It's just like the sticks on those flags are only so big.
They're
And
only
if you
so
don't stick
big.
them in the ground far enough, they're going to fall over
Right,
anyway.
right. If you don't stick it in far enough, it's gonna fall over. So it's gonna hit. It was like that, but that's the type of mentality they get. I said, no, I turned around. I said, do you realize that the fact that I'm not getting paid for this? This is not a damn job. It ain't no job. Okay. So anyway, through all that with the blood pressure and stuff like that. So when I started doing the peak performance on a consistent basis, all my blood work and stuff going. But the other thing it has affected has been my blood. my blood pressure. So, but you also get two blood pressures. I put it this way: there's something called the lab coat syndrome.
Hmm.
When you go to the doctor, and then they're going to want to take your blood pressure. Your blood pressure naturally raises because you get somebody because you're in the doctor's
Yeah,
office, the hospital. It goes up. Okay. So, but anyway, I had started. I bought me one of these blood pressure. Yeah. So I bought one of these, and I
I
got the
got one
one,
too.
and I you got this one.
Yeah, I think it's the same one I
Yeah.
got.
Yeah. So I have this one, and I like it because it's hooked up to an app on my phone. So when I take the blood pressure, it logs it, so I'm having a history. So what I started doing now for the last 3 months is that I get up in the morning and I take my blood pressure before I take my blood pressure pill.
Okay,
Okay. So I'm recording what it is without, at the
with
end
no
of the
mags.
cycle and stuff. Okay. And then
Gotcha.
I take it later on in the afternoon with it there. So, and you have different thoughts on blood pressure. Like for instance, if when I go to the hospital and stuff, and if my blood pressure is at like 130 over 70, they don't say anything. I've seen
Right,
different things. They said because you get older, then there's a little leeway and stuff on it. Okay.
right.
But then you also have the other end, because I know when I was being a caregiver, when Joyce was fighting and building with cancer and stuff, then you get the other spectrum, because when the pressure starts to go too low, then guess what? That's another flag.
That's a
Okay.
problem too.
That's another flag. So, but anyway, so like my blood pressure this morning was um before taking the blood pressure medicine was I think it was 120 or 125 over 68.
Okay.
That's before blood pressure. Now, the day before in the afternoon, my blood pressure in the afternoon, it'll go down to about like 107 over 60. And my
Why you on
resting,
the
huh? Huh?
medicine? Why you on the medicine?
Thank you. That's exactly. So with the medicine at 107 over 60, I should not be on. So that's where I'm coming at right now. So I'm just off of the cholesterol, and now I'm getting
Okay.
ready to go in to the doctor and saying, "Hey, I got
You're like, yeah, you
I'm
need to
going
get
to
me up
send
off this
him
blood pressure.
right." I'm saying, you know what? I think I got this managed here too, so I'm going to be going off. Yeah, because I shouldn't right now.
Yeah,
So I'm at 125 over 60, so that's all good. So
yeah,
that's my next one. And so with that, just a certain things, with that. So I'm looking forward to getting that off. So the other thing we're doing is I mentioned that, for instance, about the Lifeline. Remember talking about the Lifeline scan?
hmm,
Okay, so we've already set our appointments, and we're going to go do that Lifeline scan.
nice.
And that's going to do virtual like an ultrasound on our main aortas, the three. But it's also checking other things. And I also mentioned the fact that if you're man, they also do prostate PSA testing and everything else that's all part of that package. So we're going to do that. Uh, that's in September. And once we go through it, so I'm going to go ahead and document it when we go there, the process of all the tests that we take, so I can kind of go
Hmm.
ahead and share that with our listeners as well on that. Um, the other thing, I've been busy, so I'd actually created a webinar, but I know what it is. Talking about marketing. Okay, so when you get ready to go into your book thing, to go through that course. I want you to keep in mind that here's important. So the good question. You have two reasons. So originally,
Hmm.
when I wrote the first book, was because you challenged me about writing it, was to document it, and so that was the purpose. So when I did that, I was not thinking about selling the book. I wasn't thinking of making money with the book.
Right.
I was writing it to document it. Okay, an event that had happened to capture. And it sold some books, but it wasn't designed that way. Okay. So that's one way of people just write the book just because they want to write and document and be able to pass it on, just like a journal. okay, or die
Right.
and pass it on. The other thing is that, just like we mentioned about James Peterson, you got people that write books because that's their profession and that's how they're going to make income. So if you're writing a book for personal thing, that's something else. And
Right.
that was good to go through that experience because then you understand everything. In other words, how to get your book, how to put it onto the Amazon, how to copyright it. You're able to go through that, and that was worthwhile. But if you're
Right.
thinking about for your book as a means of income generation, because we're talking about creating generational wealth, which is being able to generate income while we sleep,
Right.
then that's different. So that means that before you go and do all the things about the writing of books, then you're going to wind up doing research to find the market for the book first. Okay.
Right.
Finding the market for the book first, in other words, that concept, and then also verifying that that market exists. And then you need to know where that market is. Okay. In other words, where are those people? Okay. Like, let's give an example. Let's say, for instance, I know like years past and everything else, you were a manager at a legal dispensary. And here
Hmm.
in California, that's a big change. Pot used to be illegal. Okay, pot is legal in virtually all states because they found out it was a taxable revenue income. Okay,
That
and you had
part.
that. And so that right there was target market. So these people, when they putting up these dispensaries, are not just putting them up anywhere. They know that there's a market for the people, but they are picking out location, especially if you're dealing with real estate. If you're leasing or
Hmm.
you're actually purchasing, most of them purchase the property. So it does make a difference where that location is. But you have to go through that process before you're just opening up your doors and stuff. And so it's the same thing
Yeah,
on.
because I mean, sorry, because I was gonna say, for a perfect example, my first dispensary, where it was located,
Mhm.
because they were just pretty much pretty new and not really knowing how they really wanted to zone these places and everything else. My first dispensary technically is in a location it should never have been in. Uh, Now all my other locations that I worked at or worked for and companies that I worked for, they were in much better locations, but it did kind of bother me that that first dispensary I worked for was literally across the street from a daycare.
Oh yeah, daycare or school. You can't be. You're not supposed to be
Yeah,
around them. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
That is true. So
I mean, the laws, of course, and things like that have since changed. They're grandfathered in, but it still just kind of always bothered me. Like, yeah, like we're directly across the street from a daycare.
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
So
Like, how does that even work?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, also there was one dispensary that was right down the street, right across from a Walmart store. Uh, but that was also turned out to be within 100 yards of a charter school that started up. So the charter school came in and started took over an old building. That's what they do. They take over
Hmm.
old buildings and everything else. But that happens to be within 100 yards of the dispensary. So that dispensary had to close. Yeah.
Wow.
So location does make a difference. Again, you have to do, doing that research. So when we're publishing a book, then we need to look at it. And another thing we realize is that, so I was just looking here today, because I do book reviews. So how do I get book reviews? Every book, if you look at a book and you see one has 1,000 reviews and the other one has five, people are going to go to
Hmm.
the one that has a
It has
thousand reviews.
1,000
Okay.
every
It
time.
just it is. It's just like buying something on Amazon. In other words, I want to buy two cameras. That one has 1,000 reviews. This has five reviews. I'm going to buy the one that has 1,000. That's just the same
Yep.
thing on books. So I had been looking at. So I've been doing. There's a way to get book reviews. Like right now, I know that I can put a book and I can get 100 reviews, and I can get those 100 reviews within 90 days. Okay, and part of it is a collaboration between other authors where we review each other's books and stuff.
Right.
That is one way of doing it, where you have other writers review your books and I review their books and we do that. Um, So that is one way to do that, and we go through that process and stuff. But the other thing is, again, we understand with books is that people buy the book, they buy the book one time. We're going to read the book, but we're only going to buy it from you one time. So unless you
Right.
get a series and stuff, you don't have repeat business. Unlike, for instance, a dispensary with somebody smoking pot, you're going to use the pot, you're going to consume the pot, and you're going to go buy and buy more pot. It's
Yep.
the consumable. So you're not buying it just this month, you're buying it next month and next month and next month and next month and next month. Okay,
Yep.
so those consumable things, it's just like gas in our car. People make money
Same
on
thing.
selling gas because gas goes in and we run out and we have to go back and get it again. Okay, those are the things, the type of things using all the time. I was looking at something concerning Elon Musk and about why did he buy Twitter? Okay, so people saying, well, he already a billionaire. What the heck did he need Twitter for? Well, Twitter is something that he got mainly because it's part of the influence. Remember the thing we were talking about GameStop, right? Okay, so you had this influencer that I think was on either Instagram and stuff. Remember when he was at what you had GameStop, their stock was
Oh
like
yeah.
a couple of pennies, you know?
Yeah. I
And
know
then you
about
had,
that.
remember the influencer came on and he had told everybody to start buying the stock and the stock price went from zip to $500. Well, who made the money? The person who did the influencer that did that, and all of a sudden the stock goes up. That's why they're
Oh
up
yeah.
there behind making money.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Freaking I didn't make as much on that one as I wanted to, but I did have some friends that made a killing.
Yeah. Made a
Because
killing.
I was stuck at work. So I found out about it late. And so like freaking I was at work. I found out about it. I get the messages. I went
Yeah.
straight. I'm like, I'll be back. I'm going on a break. Got right on my phone.
Yeah.
Went
So
freaking right to my broker. Yeah, I need a few shares real quick before it gets out of hand.
so he bought that because of the fact of influence.
Yeah.
That he can use that just going on and tweeting about one thing that can influence because you have a market of followers and stuff that are out there that'll listen. And again, you don't have to have a whole bunch. There's the whole thing. So on anything that you do, whether it's on whether you're doing it with ads or whatever, you're going up and out there. The industry market is roughly about one to 2% response. So if you got 100,000 and you send out 100,000 emails, there's only going to be between 1 to 2% that are going to respond back to it. But they do it because of that. The same thing on creating the Instagram or whatever, the followers and stuff like that. We have to realize, here's the thing. I was listening to this thing called, you ever heard of a thing called Mind Valley? Mind Valley. There are a lot of mastermind millionaires and stuff that do courses about how they got to where they were at.
Mhm.
Okay. So one of this guy's name is guy's named John Lee. I think is a Chinese guy, but it's also been doing mastermind influences on Instagram and just other social media. But one thing he realized, he says, you don't need 1 million followers to make $1 million.
Right.
He said, you don't. You don't need 1 million followers. It's not all the followers. It's who's following you make a big difference. Okay.
Mhm.
And he mentioned the fact that the reason people follow on an automatic basis is that people don't buy, just like we were saying, for instance, on the reviews and everything else. People buy from people who they know or who they understand who they are as an individual.
Right.
Okay. And so he was up here talking about he shows up and about the fact about this thing about stories. So I just recently started upping my stories as I'm going through this course because I'm going through his course
Hmm.
about social marketing, how to build up a following and everything else, but doing it a little bit different. So I have like when I teach lead and expired and everything else, we have like last week it was 33.6 thousand. Right now it's up to like 35.3. Um,
Okay.
so, but now I'm going into even more focusing because I really wasn't using the stories as much. I mean, I would do a story here and a story there and everything else. And I was following this lady named Sadie that I started following her stories. And she's every day she gets up and she gets in front of a mirror with her phone, and she's got her little short shorts on, and she's up here talking about exercise and really about her body. And I was saying, why is she doing it? And I said, women, I can't get up there in my shorts in front of a damn mirror and do that. But that's what she was doing. So I started following. If you want to find out how people are making it, follow somebody
Mhm.
that's already doing it and duplicate their success. But I kept on saying, oh, I can't be doing that. I said, my wife would kill me. So, but I started looking, I said, why is she doing it? It took me 3 months, no, 2 months after following her to find out why she was doing it. She used to be heavy. And so she had gotten involved with her wellness company and was on their diet thing. So a part of the diet is like that. If you are overweight and you want to lose weight, you know,
Mhm.
then you need to take accountability. And part of that is just like, for instance, I had gotten up when I first started teaching, I was 157, about 157 pounds. Okay. In 5 years, I went from 157 to 197 pounds. I gained 40 pounds. Uh, Part of it was happy, part of it was stress. I don't know, but I did. So, but I didn't start to when I decided that when I made the decision that I wanted to lose the weight, that was too much for
Mhm.
me. Uh, Things didn't start happening till I bought a scale and I put the scale in my bathroom. And so
Right.
then I got in the habit that every morning I got up, I would look and get on the scale. Now, a lot of people like it, like my Carolyn and everything else, or even like Joyce, she threw her scale out. I said, "Why did you do that?" She said, "Because I got on it one day and it lied to me." So she said, she said it lied to her, so she threw the damn thing out. But anyway, as long as I have that scale, my weight dropped. And like
Mhm.
right now, I'm at about 182. But part of it's because I'm lifting weights. So I am lifting weights
Yeah.
3 times a week. And now this week, I can actually press 260. So I weigh 182
Nice.
and I can press 260. So a lot of it is my mass. But it's amazing when you go into the doctor, they're looking at the paper that says your height and your weight.
Mhm.
And it says, oh, well, then you're overweight. But I'm looking at women. I got professional football players as a cornerback. That's my height. It weighs 197 pounds. I don't see anybody doctor telling him that he's overweight,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
The
So
freaking standards for height and weight and body mass and everything else haven't been changed or modified, I don't think, in decades, or at least it's what it seems like.
yeah.
Like there's no way like these height and weight standards are still relative, not when the majority of the country and the nation and the children alone are just naturally bigger. You
By the scales, everybody, you get like two-thirds of the
you know
people are overweight.
See, this is how you know that it needs to be fixed when almost everybody's child that's born as of late is in the 99th percentile until they're the age of 10. You need to change your freaking statistics then. Because everybody's child can't keep being in the 99th daggone percentile unless
Hmm.
your chart's not right. You need to rearrange it. You need to change it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's called evolution.
Evolution on there. So, all right. So we kind of touched the bases on a lot of good stuff up here today. So I'm get to back with life scan. So I'm going to be working on getting off of my high blood pressure medicine. That's a good
Nice.
thing. Uh, I designed so I'm also working on right now, for instance, that Mind Valley concept about marketing. And that's what
Hmm.
I'm doing on my Instagram right now. So it's dealing with the stories. And this guy told me, oh, remember I was talking about the lady, Sadie, and she was just going through every day. She's
Hmm.
posting in her stories, maybe about 5 to 7 posts a day, but they're off the cuff. They're not prepared. They're not scripted. They're just doing them. Okay.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I said, God, you mean she's really getting people just following her? And then she had posted something last week, and said something about what she was been doing. Okay. And right in that post, right after she posted, this lady came on and says, okay, I'm in. I've been listening to you for like 5 months. I want to go on this weight loss program that you're doing. And I saw that and I'm saying, I be damn. I be damn. So when I saw that, I said, okay. So then I found then I saw this ad that was coming up and I got this thing about Mind Valley and I happened to click on the video to watch the video
Mhm.
and this guy was talking about people people do business with who they trust. And so again, he was talking about the stories. And so I said, okay, well, I guess maybe they must know something. So I saw that. So I said, okay, I'm just going to do it.
Right.
So all of a sudden, when I did that, in the one day, I got more engagement off of doing the little videos than I had been doing the previous 3, 6 months, except for the other ones. There's things which I've boosted and paid to hate to
Right.
have to do that, and that of course got more exposure. Uh, but this was doing something that I didn't pay, but just did it, and I get because I realized there were certain things I post on my profile, and nobody say anything. And there were things I post, then all of a sudden I get max engagement. People just responding back into and giving me engagement. And that turns out. So the things I did were just sharing things about my life, about what I do on a daily basis, about me,
Hmm.
gets the most engagement. It gets the most engagement. So just like on you with your, with your bike and your arm, that lady, she had an anxiety attack that came in, and so she even did the little story. I'm at the hospital now in the emergency room. I don't know what's going on. Then they came in, they were doing the test. She just did all that, just about her life that was going on. In the meantime, people would they will follow her, and people don't buy the first time, and
Hmm.
people buy from people who they trust and know.
Yep.
That was a very valuable lesson. So now I am reconstructing now, like the teach, lead, and expire that I have. My stories are now going to be different. And I'm doing them because I'm following this. And then that means on the Instagram where you have the little circles, which are the highlights, then what happens, there's a certain way that those highlights are to be changed. And then we set those up. And then virtually this is how they've been able to get um, clients and stuff coming in by doing it. And
Nice. Okay.
yes, so that's something that once you learn how to do it and construct it right, is something that continues to grow because there's the whole thing is that the money for instance, like Twitter, talking about Elon Musk, is that as long as he has the Twitter, he has an audience that is there that all he has to do is drop. Damn, Trump did it. I mean, Trump had his following, right? And then
Yep.
so when he wants to make money, he just came up with a new idea, right? The damn gold tennis shoes, he drop it in, right? And guess what? 1 to 2% of the people will
They
buy it. It's
sold.
printing money. He printing money. Everything. The golden Bibles. He's printing money.
Yep.
It's the same thing. He's always been doing it, printing money. And the other ones, us poor folks will look at him and say, "Look at this fool. He's just using the system." He said, "Well, okay,
I mean, that's what you're
that's
supposed to do.
that's right. So you either work for somebody else, trading your time for hours, and then they can fire you anytime you want, or you wake up and look at stop complaining about people that are making the millions of dollars and start following and looking what they're doing
And
because you
figuring
can do
out
the
how you
same
can
thing.
repeat it.
Yeah, you can do the same thing. That's what generational wealth did. This is hold the wake up. Oh, and now here's the other big thing I lesson I learned today was that remember I said if you're gonna have the book and I mean if you want to do it just to do it, but if you're gonna do it to earn money, then you need to do the research and find out who are you going to be talking to, who are you doing, and then you got
Hmm.
to find them. If you can find where they're at, then all you got to do is put up an advertisement right in front of them, and 1 or 2% of people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the places that you can do it is that you're either attracting, now that part of building up that following, it takes time, but you don't have to pay money for advertisement. It's something that you can do and just orchestrate it and just do it over time to build up followers. And once you get up to around 10,000 of those type of people which are following you because of you, then you're in
Hmm.
a position where you can print money and make $10,000 a month. Okay, so that's the goal that we want to be able to do because you could always drop it in. And we already know that that works. Just like an example, we're talking about Elon Musk or the Donald Trump.
Right.
Okay, so that's something that we can do, and I'm learning how to refine that, and it doesn't take long to do that. Okay, it doesn't really take that long to do that. Um, but it was Oh, the other thing, where do you find the people? Okay. So if you do find it and then you want to scale, because if you got something that people like, then you got the right target market. Then if you got a small group, you can test it and you look at your numbers and stuff. Then you want to be able to get what we call scale in it. Then that's when you do the ads and you pay for the ads because
Right.
if I
To reach
know
more.
if I can spend $1 and I can bring in four, how often would I spend that dollar? Every single day and more. I would take it all and put it back in. I would take that $4 and put it back in. And that's how they scale. And that's how they make millions of dollars. But where do you find the people? Well, one of the big places on testing things is actually like in Facebook. There's different people on Instagram that's buying, there's different ones on TikTok that's buying. But also on Facebook, you have to really take a look. There's ways that you look at the groups and stuff. And then I've noticed this was a big thing. When I learned uh, about changing my story, and all of a sudden I started getting reactions, back
Hmm.
engagement that I had not been seeing. Then the other thing I realized that guess what? I had one post that I had, and I was going to repost it to groups. And I, by mistake, I posted one to a group that I shouldn't have posted in because it was off topic. So you know what happened when I posted it and it was off topic? Guess what happened? The damn vultures came out, right?
Hmm.
Vultures came out, all nasty, all crap, everything
You're
else.
not
I mean, I
supposed to
did it
post
by,
that here.
yeah, I did it by
Like, my
accident,
bad.
but they all came up and out. It was all nasty. But then that same post was posted to another group that was on topic with them, and all I got is max engagement. That was a light clicked in my head. I said, I'd be damned. So you need to make sure that you're posting to the right place. And
Right.
so with everybody being laid off, and so this week I had created a webinar. I went and did a webinar. I have a webinar software now. And I've been experimenting. So this past week, I created a webinar. I did a webinar. I used AI to help me procure on how to construct it. It has offers on there. It's set up to
Hmm.
monetize. But the thing was, where do I get the people how to do it? Well, I started looking at that model and I found them. I found where I want to do it. And it was like, oh my God, it was like, how could I have missed this before? It was because a lot of times you're working on stuff, you may fail. Okay. You may try something and you fail and you fail. And a lot of people, they go through the first couple of things and they fail and they fail. They spend money and don't get anything back. And guess what? They give up. They give up. Just at the point you shared that too
Yeah.
about 2 inches from pay date,
Like freaking
for
one
your
more swing of
payday.
the pick, guy, because he could have been at the diamond, but they
Right.
gave.
You could, but it gave up and stopped short.
Yep. Instead
Stopped
of giving
short.
it one more go.
Yeah. And you have a lot of these guys, entrepreneurs, they've been trying different things and failed and failed and failed and failed. And all of a sudden they kept going. And then all of a sudden, then they hit payday. And so all the debt that they got then, that debt disappeared because all of a sudden
Yep.
they hit
Didn't matter.
payday. And
Yep.
all of a sudden tens of thousands of dollars and stuff is coming in. and it paid and wiped all the debt off. But if you stop, that's the problem.
Then you just stuck with the debt
You just stuck
normally.
with the debt. Yeah, you just stuck with the debt. Okay. And so that's where I'm feeling this right here, us getting together on this is actually helping me focus more and grow. And the best part about it now is because I'm retired and I got the time, I can focus on it. Okay. I could not do this. I could not get to this point. But this is the same
Oh
thing
yeah,
that
five,
it,
10 years ago. Yeah, no.
no,
Yeah, no.
couldn't, based on responsibilities and everything else that was going on. No, I couldn't do that. Okay. But now I can. And now I'm
Yep.
taking full advantage of it right now. So I did find that the little magic group where I'm going to put up that little thing. Okay.
Hmm.
And I know how to do it, but I'm not going to share that on here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
No, no, that
no,
ain't being
no,
shared on here. That ain't gonna be shared on here. Okay, so because guess what? That comes just like the guy who I'm paying money for his course. Guess what? That's information that's gonna be, I'll teach, I tell
exactly.
you,
It'll
but
it'll
it's
be
gonna cost
available
you.
in it'll be
That's right.
available per our webinar.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Absolutely right. If you want to know about it, you gotta go to the webinar. So indeed. All right. I think we've been good today. Damn, time goes by fast again. Oh Lord, have
happens every
mercy.
happens every time we do a show.
Every time, for sure. But we did a lot. So we're talking about the lifeline, about getting that. We talked about my health. I'm off the cholesterol by next week and everything else. Hopefully, I should be close as far as getting off of the blood pressure medicine because we already saw what those are. So I'm getting those and I'm sending
Yep.
the thing to the doctor on that. I'm going to continue with that. I'm starting on my stories, documenting now and sharing what I do every morning, just my whole routine of like, for instance, when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do, I drink 24 ounces of water. That's the first thing I do because I need to make sure I'm hydrated. So I drink on my little thing here. You can't see it now. Oh, there it
Yeah.
is. Oh, sorry, it says
Yeah.
the
I see it.
Amazon. Oh, there, Amazon Future Engineer. Yeah, yeah. This is that swag they gave me. So, but I drink 3 of those a day, making sure I'm staying hydrated. That's the thing. I got my scale that's in my bathroom so I can take a look at that little sucker there. But I'm actually sharing all the different things and stuff like that because I'm getting treadway on it because now I'm doing it on those stories. I'm getting engagement and stuff where people are actually responding back because they're getting to know me. Okay. They're getting to know me as a person, and that's more valuable because people will do business with and will invest
Who
money
they like,
with and spend thousands of dollars and hundreds of dollars on
who
someone
they
who they
like, and who they
trust.
know.
Yes, and they know. And that's where we're at.
And
So,
And I can attest to that from all the different places that I've worked, all the jobs that I've had, whether it was a manager or behind a counter in a retail setting. That's the main reason why a lot of customers would even shop at the places where I worked
yeah,
was because of me.
yeah,
And after I left and I no longer was working there,
yeah.
those customers no longer went back.
That's right. That's right. It's just like a barbershop. I remember I used to
Yeah.
I would always go to a barbershop for the barber who I knew, who I liked, or
Yep.
whatever.
And then
If
once
he
your
left,
barber's gone, that's a wrap. I got to
that's
try to
right.
find somewhere
It's
else
gone.
now
It's a wrap.
because, like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, I don't like none of the rest of y'all here. I got to go somewhere else.
Yeah. So we're in the right time in the right place of things to work on
Yeah.
these. Okay, as we work on them. So anyway, but next week, again, for those people that are actually out there listening to us and watching us, you need to stay tuned because if you continue to watch, you're going to be able to learn and grow of what we're doing and we'll be able
Yep.
to share it with you and everything else because it's the whole thing. We want to be able to help people create a legacy of total wellness and create generational wealth for their families. And for me, the whole big thing is on these student loans. We can probably have talked about that this next week.
Yeah, we got to talk about that again. I just got another email about mine. I got to look and see how much I got left on mine to pay off.
Yeah. Oh, and here, besides that, this is what you want to do between now and next week. Log into your account
Yeah.
and go to the account history. And on the account history, print out the lifetime things that shows your payments. So it's going to show the disbursements of the money and stuff that they gave you, but also when you make your payment, it's going to show the principal and the interest. You want to go ahead and get that list out because
Okay.
Yeah, because we want to talk. We're going to talk about that account history that everybody that has a student loan needs to take a look at their account history because it's going to be an eye-opening experience when you take a look at and see. Okay, so like our student loans are not like other loans, and the main big difference on the student loans is that they charge daily interest because
Yeah,
daily. In other words, I saw the same payment that I had been making and following for 10 different months. And if you looked at it, the amount of principal and the amount of interest that was paid out of my payment was different. It wasn't the same. See, it should be
yeah.
like on a when you have a mortgage, right? When you get a
It
mortgage in the
should be
very
a set
beginning,
level.
right, you have interest, right? But over time, the interest starts to decrease and the principal starts to increase. It's like that, like on a linear
Yeah,
progression. No student loans are not like that. Okay. You see, I have this month, I'm paying more interest than the one I did before. How the heck?
yeah. It fluctuates. It's
It's
like those
because
freaking variable rate mortgages.
and be, and because it's daily interest. So like June's only taking out 30 days of it in 30s.
Yep.
Or in between time, you had like 30 days and you had 31 days, or February. It is, but
Yep.
it's an eye-opening experience. So we're going to dig into student loans because if people started looking at that, they ought to start waking up and start realizing I need to get rid of it. So you can screw this thing about public service loan forgiveness, okay? Because the administration's changing that. So you
Yeah.
can forget that. So you got to pay it off. And the other thing is they say, oh, but don't worry about it because when I die, that I don't have to worry about it. No, guess what? To let you know
Now
right
your
now.
partner does though.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah, what's
spouse is
coming
gonna
down
be
the pipe
responsible for it.
is that when you die, that's going to go ahead and pass on to whoever your survivors are.
And that's one of the main reasons why they're trying to change the freaking common law. The what is it? The freaking common law marriages in most of the states. Now they're trying to make it be a shorter amount of time to where you officially common law
Yeah.
marriage, I think.
Normally it's
And
two
I was just
years.
like, oh, y'all think y'all slick. I see what y'all doing. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Normally
Y'all
it's
want
like
somebody
2
else to
years. It's
blame.
like automatic coming in there too. Yeah, it
Mm,
is. All right. That's a wrap. But we're gonna dig into student loans next week then. All
heck
right.
yeah.
So give my best to my grandkids. Tell them
Will do.
I hope they're doing good in school as well. I know they're
Oh,
playing the
school hasn't
game.
even started back yet for them.
Okay. They haven't started.
Yeah,
They're still in summer
they got another week, I think. They go to school
after
after
Labor
Labor
Day.
Day. After
After
Labor
Labor
Day.
Day. Okay. All right. Well, they can have fun then. Just don't beat each
Heck
other up.
yeah.
They're all good.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, nah. It's gonna be another scorcher here today, another 100-degree day here. So freaking they'll probably hop in the pool later.
Yeah, it was 105. It was really hot. My AC has been on in the morning and went all the way up until like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then it's been
Same
so
th-
hot that I couldn't
same
open my
same here.
windows. Yeah, but I'm just good now. I got solar. So for the most part, up until 9 o'clock, it was
It
using
don't
off my
even matter.
battery.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say it don't even matter when it's that much sun.
No.
You getting free energy anyway.
Yeah. My electric bill last this last month was $35. That's what it was. It was $35.
Man, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it makes a difference. So now I'm paying off that system. So here within what did I say by next year, yeah, next year, my solar panels I just put in are going to be paid off, which means I have no mortgage and no utilities.
Nice.
Matter of fact, yeah. So that'll be set up. All right.
Jordan's in
Rocking
the
and rolling.
house.
All right.
Come on, get up. We're sitting here like this again, talking about what should have been. You roll your eyes like you just don't care. Let's get the check, cause I'm up out of here. If you won't change, I won't change. And everything remains the same. And I won't play this losing game, cause that's what love goes down the drain.